I will call to order the joint meeting of Lincoln County Board of Commissioners and the Planning Board this 4th day of August of 2025. The Planning Board is not here right now. They will be here close to 6:30. We're going to do some things beforehand to try to expedite the meeting so we don't have to be here until 1 o'clock in the morning. So with that being said, if you would, please join me by standing for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, so before we adopt the agenda, I would like to move other business to behind item number 7, so everything else will move down. Zoning will go to number 9, and other business will now be 8. Is everybody okay with that? All right, so I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
With the modification made?
With the modifications
All right,
were made.
sounds good. Motion by Commissioner Carpenter. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, so the agenda is adopted. Now I will entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Patton. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. So the consent agenda is approved. So now we will move to number 3, ordinance amending Chapter 111 of the Lincoln County Code of Ordinance. Ms. Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is the ordinance that deals with peddlers and solicitors. This restricts and regulates the acts of peddling and soliciting, and it is not permitted prior to 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m. There will be a permit process. That permit process will go into effect January 1st of 2026, and those permits will be issued by the county manager's office. So I just need a vote to approve.
Okay, anyone have any questions? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance amending Chapter 111 of the Lincoln County Code of Ordinance.
So moved, sir, since I missed that last time.
Okay, all right. Motion by Commissioner Cecina. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. It passes. All right, number 4.
So this is Chapter 152 of the Lincoln County Code of Ordinances. This is the erosion, soil erosion and sedimentation control ordinance. This is being recodified to change the department name. Natural Resources is no longer under the Soil and Water Department and is now part of Development Services. So that is the sole purpose for this amendment.
Okay, anyone have any questions for Ms. Gilbert? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance amending Chapter 152 of the Lincoln County Code of Ordinances as presented.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Carpenter. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it.
Thank you. So next, we have the agreement regarding school assignment for Catawba and Lincoln County students that were impacted by the boundary update between Catawba and Lincoln. This is the agreement where the schools and the counties have agreed to allow students to remain where they are if they are already enrolled or if they were born as of the date that the line changed, which was June 30th of 2025, and they reside in a home with a student that is considered a legacy student under the agreement. I know that the last I spoke to the other attorneys, we are still working on a finalized list. I know our development services staff is working with school personnel to get that final list, and the document will be updated with a list of addresses only. We will not be listing children, student names, but I know that the number of students has adjusted a decent amount with the change in the line from the February line to the June line. So just asking for approval.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? I will entertain a motion to approve the agreement regarding school assignments for Catawba and Lincoln County students impacted by the boundary updated between Catawba and Lincoln County.
So moved.
All right, motion by Commissioner Mullen. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, number 6.
This is a joint resolution by Lincoln County Board of Commissioners to reconstitute the Lake Norman Marine Commission. This is based on the new Session Law 2025-67. I believe that Iredell County is also adopting this resolution today. Catawba County adopted it July 21st, and I believe Mecklenburg County is either adopting it today or tomorrow. I can't remember what day of the week they meet. But this will reconstitute the commission. We will send this to the required parties at the state, and then we will be able to appoint to this board the 2 members that we are entitled to appoint from this county. So any questions for me?
Okay, does anyone have any questions? All right, I know Commissioner Cicino has a statement he would like to read. He has been hard-working at this through the whole process, and we appreciate Bud's efforts and appreciate Mark's efforts as well. So you have the floor, Bud.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. About 3 years ago, I became aware of the Limbia outbreak. I didn't even know what Limbia was at the time. It was first reported in Mecklenburg County. I attended several meetings to determine what could be done to prevent it coming to Lincoln County. Previous Chairman Kathy Davis asked me to attend Lake Norman Marine Commission meetings to learn more. The more meetings I went to, the more I realized that it was time to consider upgrading the commission. They were slow to act on issues, and Lake Patrol officers, excuse me, I'm losing myself here. They were slow to act on issues, and Lake Patrol officers and deputies had low opinions of their effectiveness. It appeared to me that some others that it was time to upgrade the commission. I learned that Senator Sawyer from Iredell County was considering legislation to bring new life to the commission. A small group met with she and Senator Alexander to develop legislation to upgrade the commission. After several drafts, a larger group of stakeholders got together at the LEDA office in Lincolnton. Ideas and suggestions were made and documented. The current Lake Norman Marine Commission then set out to develop their own plan. Senator Sawyer asked retired Senator Jeff Tart to coordinate the ideas of both groups. The new legislation was first introduced into the Senate and passed unanimously. It moved over to the House, where there were few questions. Commissioner Barbara Brady from Catawba County brought a small group together, and the issues were resolved. 2 days later, the legislation was introduced into the House of Representatives by Representative Heather Ryan of Lincoln County and Representative Mitchell Setzer of Catawba County. It passed overwhelmingly. Governor Stein has signed the legislation into law. This has been an arduous process, and one that could not have been done at the speed in which it was accomplished without the help of some very hard-working individuals. I'd personally like to thank Senator Vicki Sawyer, Senator Ted Alexander, Representative Heather Ryan, Representative Mitch Setzer, Commissioner Barbara Beatty, Commissioner Elaine Powell, Commissioner Mark Mullen, Jeff Tart, Bob Watson, Bob Mazzell, Mike Hauser, Attorney Elise Redmond, as well as all of the deputies and officers that contributed to this effort and who keep us safe on Lake Norman for all of us to enjoy. Thank you, sir. And I'll move that we accept this resolution.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the resolution by Commissioner Cicino. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, so that passes. All right, so we'll move on to item number 7, bad debt write-off. Ms. Rios.
Good afternoon. It is afternoon, it's not evening yet, is
That's
it?
right.
I'm coming before you for the annual bad debt write-off. These are water and sewer accounts that are more than 18 months old as of June 30th, so they would be from before January 1st, 2024, if I can do the math right in my head. This is strictly a financial and accounting activity. It does not mean we will not pursue collection on these. We absolutely do. We are going to change the process of how we do some of this and get all of these that are eligible to the debt set-off program so that we can get all of that collected, as much as we can, collected from people's tax refunds, their state tax refunds if they have them. And we just need your approval before we can actually press the button and write them off.
Looking at some of these, the 35,000 and 14,000, is that from a business or is that? Okay.
And those are not eligible for debt set-off because debt set-off must be an individual. But there were some larger accounts, and we keep track of those, and the ladies in collections do a really, really good job that if like a builder comes back in and has an old balance that they have not paid, they make sure they pay that before they'll set up any new service.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve the Lincoln County write-offs as uncollectible accounts.
So moved.
All right, motion by Commissioner Cecina. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. So the ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll just add, while Deanna's here, is one thing we'll do is we need to continue to develop a policy in regards to our bad debt write-off. And we have some procedures that we follow, and we're going to continue to establish and build out those. And we'll probably be bringing some more of those to you in time as we build this in. As like Deanna said, then we have the ability to do the debt set-off. But first, we want to make sure we have that in place. And I know the health department and others have done it in the past, and they utilize this same procedure. But we want to make you aware that this will be something we'll bring forward with as we continue to evolve this and refine our structure, our policy, and our procedures.
Okay.
Manager Madden, could I request, when we go further, if we could add in what percentage of those enterprise funds this amount attributes to? What percentage the bad debt of the entire enterprise fund that would be for the operating term?
Okay. All right. Anything else on that? Then we'll move to other business. This is where other business is brought before the board. So I think Commissioner Cecina has another letter to read on behalf of the Lake Norman Marine Commission.
This one's on Lake Norman Wildlife Conservation and the Lake Norman Wildlife Federation. They would like to build some fish houses out by the fishing pier to promote some species help. On behalf of the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners, we are pleased to offer our full support for the North Carolina Wildlife Federation proposal to install fish habitat structures at Beatty's Ford Pier on Lake Norman. We are excited to collaborate with the North Carolina Wildlife Foundation on this enhancement, which aligns with our shared commitment to conservation, outdoor recreation, and health of our local aquatic ecosystems. The installation of the fish houses, as detailed in the provided specifications and visual materials, represents a thoughtful and science-based approach to improving fish populations and habitat diversity in the area. This project stands to benefit not only the lake's ecological health, but also local anglers and families who visit and utilize Beatty's Ford's fishing pier for fishing and recreation. We appreciate North Carolina Wildlife Federation's leadership and seeking funding through Duke Energy Catawba Watery Habitat Enhancement Program. We will believe this project will have a lasting and positive impact on both the community and the environment. Lincoln County supports this proposal and looks forward to seeing this project come to life. Signed, Jamie Lineberger, Chairman of Lincoln County Board of Commissioners. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bud. Anybody else have anything to add to that? All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, Bud.
Thank you, sir.
So now we'll move on to the fun part, the zoning cases. So, Ms. Gilbert, if you would do your spiel for the cases here.
I don't think we need a motion for a
It's
letter.
just a letter of recommendation. Support.
Yeah. We,
Okay, we'll back up.
I'll move that we support the letter.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Cecina that we support this letter. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we will support it. So,
Makes it official.
okay. Back to
All
you,
right.
Megan.
So, So this afternoon, we're going to be hearing 2 quasi-judicial matters. So a quasi-judicial hearing is considered an evidentiary hearing where the board must make a finding of fact as enumerated in the Unified Development Ordinance. And most importantly, these findings must be based on competent, substantial, and material evidence in the record as required by law. This means no opinions. It needs to be more fact-based. So anyone wishing to speak at a quasi-judicial hearing must have standing under law and must be sworn in. So I need to first confirm that no board members have a conflict of interest in regards to the cases before us this afternoon. No member shall participate in or vote in a manner that would violate the applicant's constitutional rights to an impartial decision maker. Impermissible violations do include a member having a fixed opinion prior to hearing the matter that is not susceptible to change, any undisclosed ex parte communications prior to these hearings, a close familial, business, or other associational relationship to the applicant, or a financial interest in the outcome of the matter. So does any board member have such a conflict?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
All right. Jeremiah, we'll start with SUP 524. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Just for the benefit of the audience, Watershed Special Use Permit number 42, McDonald's USA LLC, the applicant in that case, requested to postpone their hearing that was scheduled for today. So we'll proceed to Special Use Permit number 524. Walmart Stores East LP is the applicant in this case, and they're requesting a special use permit to construct a gas station in the General Business District and the Eastern Lincoln Development District. This property upon which the proposed gas station is to be located is actually located in a conditional zoning district that was approved back in, I believe, 2006. A gas station was not one of the uses permitted under that original conditional rezoning, and the UDO prescribes a special use permit hearing as the appropriate procedure in these types of cases where they're wanting to add a use that wasn't on the original plan. So we have a special use permit hearing here today for the gas station with convenience retail. This request involves a 0.99 acre site located on the north side of Highway 73, about 500 feet east of NC-16 bypass in Catawba Springs Township. The property is adjoined by properties on planned development commercial and general business, and land uses in this area include primarily business and residential uses with some industrial uses. The land use plan designates this area as walkable activity center, suitable for centers of entertainment and community events. These districts are typically not vehicular oriented, they're more pedestrian oriented. So walking from residential units to small scale retail, goods and services, that's conceptually what the land use plan calls for here. You have the applicant's proposed findings of fact in your packet, as well as their proposed site plan for this use, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Does anyone have any questions for Jeremiah at this time? Okay. Is the applicant here? Anything they'd like to add? If you would, state your name and address. And
Sure. Hey, my name is Bradley Pritchard. I'm the civil engineer on this project, helping out with Walmart, and I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. As Jeremiah said, this is an existing gas station being proposed at the southwest corner of the existing Walmart parking lot. And let's see. And we believe that this fuel station and convenience store will increase land value to the abutting properties by bringing more foot traffic to the area and will increase revenue taxes as well. And if you have any questions with the design, Jeremiah and I have been working in the past few months to make sure that the site plan meets all requirements for this area.
okay. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Anyone
Sure,
have any questions for
me?
the applicant?
Is there a representative here on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, our applicant is here. We're both here. She's with Walmart, and I'm the engineer of record for the project.
Yeah.
If she wants to come up and
Yeah, I'll
speak.
need her.
Okay, sure.
to come up and speak.
If you would, state your name and address for us.
Tiffany Daniels. I'm I'm from the home office, Bentonville, Arkansas.
So, did you prepare the proposed findings of fact or help with the proposed findings of fact? And do you wish to incorporate those as part of your testimony?
Correct, that's correct.
Thank you.
Anything you'd like to add?
No, excited to bring what our customers are asking for as far as memberships and benefits to the community with fuel, and a great benefit for W Plus membership. So nothing else.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
With those being the only two signed up to speak, I will, first I'll open the public hearing. With those be the only two people signed up to speak, I will close the public hearing, having no one else signed up to speak. I'll entertain a motion to approve the findings of facts as submitted by the applicant.
So moved.
What was that? Okay. I couldn't hear which one said it. Who said it?
Yeah, so
Okay.
moved.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Patton. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right. Opposed? So that one passes. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve SUP 524 Walmart Stores East LP based on the findings of fact.
So moved.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Carpenter. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. So that one passes. Thank you. All right, SUP 525.
The applicant in this case is the Foundation for Education Incorporated. They are requesting a special use permit to construct a recreational complex, including outdoor athletic fields, indoor athletic facilities, a performing arts center, school administrative and classroom buildings, and a maintenance building. The applicant is also requesting a 5-year vesting period for this phased plan, as opposed to the standard 2-year vesting period that would typically come with a special use permit approval. The property is located in the transitional residential district, and under the Unified Development Ordinance, the uses described in this application would require a special use permit in that district. The property is a 87.22 acre parcel located on the west side of Old Plank Road, about 500 feet south of Sigmund Farms Drive in Ironton Township. This property is adjoined by properties owned rural residential and transitional residential, as well as residential single family. Land uses in this area include a mixture of, include primarily residential uses. The property is located within an area that's designated by the land use plan as large lot residential, suitable for single family homes at densities up to 1.35 units per acre. You have the applicant's proposed findings of fact as well as their proposed site plan in your packet. As you can see on the site plan there, proposed access off of Old Plank Road, 2 access points off Old Plank Road, in fact, and 1 off of Mount Zion Church Road. I'll certainly allow the applicant to provide more detail on exactly what they're proposing with regards to timing and construction of this phased plan. But you'll see multiple buildings. You've got a legend there on their site plan identifying which use would be in which building, and the associated parking adjacent to those buildings, and then the athletic facilities. But I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jeremiah? Okay.
I do have one other item that I failed to mention. I apologize. This site plan does indicate multiple stream crossings as well as other impacts to what the applicant believes are the accurate locations of streams to the best of their knowledge at this point. And they are acknowledging, as you see on that site plan, they've got labels for potential stream buffer encroachments. The applicant has acknowledged that this site plan would only be valid if they were to follow through with getting a variance from the streamside buffer standards for these encroachments.
Jeremiah?
Yes,
Are you considering this a site-specific vesting plan?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions for Jeremiah? Okay, is the applicant here? If you would, state your name and address and.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Rob Brown. My address is 3978 Lakeshore Road South. That's in Denver, North Carolina, the eastern part of our community. I live in the Westport community. So I'm here tonight on behalf of Lincoln Charter School and the Foundation for Education, and I'll explain those two entities here in just a moment. Most of you know I've been practicing law in this county for about 30 years. During that time, I've had the pleasure to serve on many community boards, YMCA, United Way, American Red Cross, and I also had the opportunity to serve 6 years with Lincoln Charter School Board on their board of directors. 5 years of that, I was president of that board. Unfortunately, a couple of those years were during COVID. That's when I got to know David real well, when he was at the health department. But it was a pleasure to serve there. I have a real passion for Lincoln Charter School. Both of our daughters graduated from there as well. So tonight, we have several folks here on our team that I'd like to introduce. Two of them can testify as expert witnesses if necessary. They've been sworn in. So the first is Dr. Jonathan Bryant. He's the Chief Administrator of Lincoln Charter School. He's been with Lincoln Charter since 2007 and has served in the current leadership role he's in now since 2016. Melissa Lasarski is here. She's been part of Lincoln Charter family since 2008. I'm going to put my glasses on. And she's serving as project manager for the Lincoln Event Complex. Jeff Oden is our engineer, civil engineer expert on the project. He's with Stewart Inc., licensed engineer in North Carolina and several other states. Over 40 years of experience of development planning, primarily K through 12 educational facilities, higher education, healthcare, and more. His specific areas of expertise include site planning, grading, stormwater management, erosion control, and utility systems. We also have Gary Morgan is with us today. He's Senior Vice President of Operations at Leaper Construction. He's a lifelong resident of Lincoln County. He's got 40 years of hands-on experience in commercial construction. Most recently, some very high-profile projects that Gary worked on that we'll all be familiar with. The $500 million expansion at Charlotte Douglas Airport, in addition to the $533 million Atrium Health Wake Forest Medical School. So pleased to have all those folks with us, and I'm going to see if I can get this to work. Hey, there we go. So there's our presentation team that I just mentioned. So I want to explain the difference between the Foundation for Education, which is the actual applicant on this, and the Lincoln Charter School. So both of these are 501c3 nonprofits. The Foundation for Education, Inc. is the entity that actually owns the real estate and the buildings. Lincoln Charter School is technically a tenant of Foundation for Education. Those two coexist. Without one, the other doesn't exist, and it's been that way since they set it up at its inception. For those of you that are not familiar with Lincoln Charter School, it's K through 12. We have two campuses. There's a campus in Denver. There's also one just west of the city of Lincoln on Highway 27. Their current enrollment for this year is 2,384 students. There's approximately 270 employees. The Foundation for Education Board consists of four board of directors, which are actually the officers of Lincoln Charter School Board. So again, these two coexist. So the dream, this project that we're presenting to you tonight is hopefully through local, state, and regional partnerships, the community park amenities design, continue community access to facilities. We're trying to fill a void. As we all know, there's a desperate need for athletic fields, and definitely a performing arts center, which is part of the site plan, and I'll get to that here in just a moment. The property, as Jeremiah mentioned, is approximately 88 acres on Old Plank Road, also has access on Mount Zion Church Road. This belonged to the Sigmund family. I've got a brief audio I'll play at the end of the presentation from Ms. Gilliland on behalf of their family. So the history and heritage, they wanted to preserve that. When we started negotiations with the family to purchase this property, they were very adamant about certain things being maintained, tree save, big buffers. They're big tennis fans and play a lot of tennis, so they required us to put tennis courts on the site plan, and we did. And the McPeela name is very important to them. In that community, there's a lot of heritage there, and we've agreed to use that name and incorporate it into part of our project. So we do have restrictive covenants that do require us to do certain things for the benefit of the family. Foundation for Education purchased this property. We closed on it in October of 2024, so we do own the property currently. So here's the site plan, and we have better, larger versions. Would you like to see those?
We've got it.
Is it? Okay, we've got a real large one if you'd like to see it, a pretty one. But okay. So here's our current site plan. As you can see, there's a lot of different components here. So the Performing Arts Center is item A, 70,000 square feet proposed. The administrative offices and classrooms is item B, about 13,000 square feet. The gymnatorium and instructional classrooms is a 34,000 square foot structure. That's item C. D is the football stadium and track. E, potential indoor swim complex, 45,000 square feet. F is the softball field. G is the baseball field. Tennis courts, Ms. Gillen will be happy about that. Item H. Soccer and lacrosse field is item I to the lower right portion of the plan. And then J is the maintenance building, about 7,500 square feet and parking there. So where we are in the process is everything's pre-construction. We're having civil design work done, obviously, testing the soil and doing all those things that we need to do. Everything's contingent, of course, on the SUP being approved tonight, hopefully, and then we can kind of kick into high gear. The proposed components to be in phase 1 are listed there. So that'd be the stadium with the track, cross-country trails, tennis courts, the lacrosse and soccer field, and the gymnatorium. So a gymnatorium, if you don't know, is you can use it as a gym and an auditorium. And so you can do events there. So that would take the place of the Performing Arts Center until it's constructed. Here's the proposed timeline, provided we get approved on this SUP. We'd like to have the groundbreaking ceremony in September, start moving dirt, shovels in the ground, as we call it, in December of this year, and hopefully phase 1 will be completed January of 2027. The findings of fact, the public health and safety findings of fact, with this being educational, recreational, cultural, and athletic purposes, we don't feel like there's any material endangerment to the surrounding areas. We've been in communication, charter school folks have, with Sigmund Farms property and owners and HOA members out there. We feel like this will be incompatible in harmony with the area and conforms with the LUP. I'll mention the property immediately adjacent to this on the corner of Mount Zion and Old Plank is actually owned by this county school board. So the Board of Education owns that, and that's zoned special district. And that's immediately adjacent. So our property kind of comes around that, and I'll show it to you on the site plan in just a moment. So we also believe we meet the required conditions and specifications. Obviously, this project will be constructed and comply with all federal, state, and local requirements. Impact on surrounding property. We actually feel like this will be a benefit to the community. We're going to have, again, athletic fields, cross-country trails, other components of this will be open to the public's use, and we're certainly going to, again, add a benefit to the community. There's going to be needed facilities and resources, as I mentioned earlier. Compatibility with the area and land use plan. Again, we think this is consistent and conforms with the land use plan. Again, providing educational, athletic, and cultural facilities. I mentioned the adjacent parcel owned by the school board. There is significant tree save and buffering, and we're going to have smart and shielded lighting. It's all going to be directed to not impact the neighbors in a negative fashion. So we would request that you affirm the findings of fact and respectfully request that you would approve SUP 525. Ms. Gilbert, we did prepare these findings of fact, and I would request that they be incorporated into the record. I would also like to reserve the right to come back and answer any questions if after the public's allowed their opportunity to speak. And if you don't have any questions, do you have any questions for me?
Does anyone have any questions for Rob?
Okay. Would you mind, Mr. Chairman, if I play that audio recording at this
That's
time?
fine, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me open the public comments real quick.
Okay,
So,
sure.
with nobody else from them to speak, I will open the public hearing for SUP 525, Foundations of Education.
Okay, thank you. So this is Ms. Laura Gilliland. She's on the sign-up sheet. I put her address there and email. She is the matriarch of the family that sold this property to us. She is speaking on behalf of her entire family and Sigmund Farms, Inc., so that's technically a group. That's less than 4 minutes audio, I promise, but I'd like it if you'd hear from Ms. Gilliland. Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'm Laura Sigmund Gilliland, and I live at 5020 Old Plank Road. The property being considered is my Sigmund family property, and making decisions about how to use the land for the future has been a bit difficult because we always respected farming and rural living, open spaces, and nature. And building more houses, we didn't feel like could accomplish that. And so when we were contacted by Foundation for Education, this showed us a path that we might find really interesting for doing maybe what we thought would improve the entire area. And so it's with great joy and anticipation that I look forward to our family's property being used for a recreational complex. Sporting venues in our area are very limited and certainly needed. Anyway, my mother was a teacher, so we felt like education would be one of the ways to enhance our respect and honor for her and give her legacy a little more meaning. And so that made us happy too. So this was going to accomplish a lot of goals for our family, and we felt like it might really do that. The Foundation for Education has been so accommodating for all of our requests, and there were many. We do have such a respect for nature, and we didn't want things clear cut, and we wanted our trees to be saved, and they agreed with that. They've agreed for all of our nature requests. They've agreed for the respect for the surrounding properties. So we're very thankful for that and for their input on everything. They have made a wonderful partner so far, so we're really happy about that. There's a lot of history surrounding the MacPela community, and I personally feel like that's very meaningful to capture and preserve some of our roots around here too, and this will help to do that also. So I also think that that this will provide the additional facilities for the sporting events, obviously, and provide additional educational opportunities, and maybe provide a facility for a community center for our community to have a place to feel home for them, and then enhance the entire MacPela community. So I request or suggest that this special use permit for a recreational campus be granted. Thank you.
Does this cursor work up here? There it is.
It
Can y'all
should.
see that?
Yep.
I don't see it on this screen. So anyway, the square at the top, where you see building A and building E at the top of the plan, that box right there, that's Miss Gillen's house. She currently lives there. She's got about an acre of land. So this is going to impact her more than anyone because we literally are surrounding her property, and just wanted to show you where her house was. Okay, thank you. Any additional questions?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
We've got Gary Morgan.
That's our.
Okay, he was to sign up next to speak if he's got anything to say. Are you good? All right. Sheila Sadler.
Good evening. I'm Sheila Sadler, 625 Luther Drive, Iron Station. I emailed zoning with some questions and concerns that I have for this facility and was told to speak here. I would first like to address my personal concerns with this facility being built behind our homes in Sigmund Farms. I've lived in Sigmund Farms for over 25 years. Our property backs up to the land that has been purchased for an athletic field by Lincoln Charter, or athletic fields. The corner of the property is only 1/10 of a mile from the entrance to our neighborhood. Several of the homes in the neighborhood will be safe from viewing the parking lots, buildings, lights, and traffic. My family and our direct neighbors do not have the luxury of a privacy tree line. If this does indeed pass, can Lincoln Charter be required to put a berm and tree line between the properties? Will there be some type of requirement for the lights out past a certain time? Are the parking lots going to be locked when not in use, as there will be entrances on Old Plank and Mount Zion? I ask that due to the possibility of increased crime. My personal concern is that this facility could drastically affect our home value and ability to sell if there are not some measures or requirements set in place. You say this will be used for public use. Please elaborate. This beautiful area has been farmed as long as I have been here, 25 years, and now sits vacant. Is there any way to continue to have at least to farm until building does start, if that happens? But then I've heard the timeline, so it sounds like that timeline's gonna be sooner. Next, I would like to address concerns of neighbors, local and state law enforcement. If you put this in, are you going to wait a year or two to do a traffic study after it's up and running to see what effects it has on the traffic in this area before allowing a purchased 500-acre tract neighborhood to be considered? The 500 acres that I'm referring to is adjacent to the tract purchased for the complex. This complex will have hundreds of cars entering and exiting the complex after football games. The country roads are not meant to handle this type of traffic. What kind of reevaluation is going to be done if the complex is allowed, and then in 2 or 3 years if the 500-acre subdivision is allowed?
Okay, thank you. We will have Rob come up and answer those questions once everybody else finishes speaking. Okay, next, Emily Daniels.
Good evening, everyone. Emily Daniels. We own 693 Luther Drive. On this diagram, it's the second house from the bottom, kind of adjacent to the football fields. I'm a property owner whose land abuts the proposed site for the charter school's sports complex. I'm here today to express my significant concerns regarding the potential impacts that this project will have on our neighborhood. While I support the school's mission, the current plan presents several serious issues that I feel need to be addressed, and these focus on 3 key areas: noise pollution, light pollution, and traffic congestion, as iterated by my lovely neighbor. First, regarding noise pollution, the proposed complex includes football fields. Football games, practices, and other events will inevitably generate a high level of noise, regardless of how it's used. This is a residential area, and the level of noise from a sports facility is far beyond what is reasonable or expected for this kind of what we are currently zoned for. This will significantly impact the peaceful enjoyment of our homes, particularly during evenings and weekends when games are most likely to be held. I urge the board to consider mandating specific sound mitigation measures, such as a more robust sound barrier or strict limitations regarding the PA systems and event hours. Second, the issue of light pollution is a major concern to me. I will say that they partially address this in their measure, that they're looking at, coverings for the lights, but I do ask that it be a requirement that these be dark sky compliant. These type of fixtures are designed to direct light downward onto the field, preventing it from bleeding into the surrounding residential properties. I feel like this is a common sense solution that would protect our quality of life without hindering the use of the fields themselves. And finally, and perhaps most critically, I'm deeply concerned about the lack of a proper traffic study as it stands. The proposed complex is to be built on a 2-lane road regardless, and that's for Mount Zion or for Old Plank. This road is not equipped to handle the kind of high volume that I expect to see for things like games when we're talking about in hundreds of cars. The parking lot is supposed to hold in excess of 500 vehicles, and my concern is that on a 2-lane road that we don't have adequate measures to control that. The results of such a study should be used to develop a clear and enforceable plan to manage traffic flow, perhaps including the creation of an alternate access point or dedicated parking or drop-off plans for the residential street, so that there's no impact to the residential streets. In conclusion, I'm not here to oppose the school, but to ask for a plan that respects the residents and the character of our current neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Next, Don Miller.
I'm the guy on Mount Zion Church Road that this comes in contact with.
State your name and address.
Don Miller, 815 Mount Zion Church Road.
All right, thank you, sir.
As drawn, whether it's accurate or not, it doesn't I don't think it's accurate. I have land on that side of the road. And as it's drawn, they're showing an encroachment on my land. So I would like to have that adjusted. If there's a drawing, if there's somebody in there or someone can come out and meet me. I've got my drawings. I've had it surveyed 3 times because I've had 3 different opportunities. People have come, cut my trees, and the hunting club comes in, and they want to go across my property there to do their hunting. Now, I imagine that's going to cease if you put all this other stuff in there. The hunt club will not be in there. But as it's drawn, it shows an encroachment on my property.
Which portion, sir?
Where Mount Zion Church Road, where it comes to the road. I'm on both sides of the road there.
Is that your driveway right there?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. My bigger concern would be if they take that, if they're allowed to take that, and then one day they want another access road in there, that they would be coming across my property to for cars coming in and out of my driveway. So just if that could be looked into to say, yes, right now they do have it surveyed correctly. They've been out there, but the drawing does not indicate that.
Okay.
So, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, next we have Bobby. I'm not sure what the last name is. I can't really. Harkey, okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Everybody messes up sometime. Appreciate the fact, Bobby Harkey at 370 Bavard Place Road, Iron Station. There's 3 roads. Hello, Mr. Patton, how you doing? There's 3 roads that goes around this property. And my grandma used to say, if you go eat an elephant, you got to take it one bite at a time, son. You got to take a little chunk of it. I think what you need to look at, we're looking at 87 acres, but this is actually, there's about 500 acres. And quickly, you're going to be approached by the folks that own the 478 acres to propose a housing development with 500 houses. And the school system owns a small portion of that, which, by the way, I was a principal for 30 and a half years. 32 and a half years, I retired. I was principal of East Lincoln when all this stuff was taking place. North Lincoln, Lincoln Middle School. I'm a licensed contractor, commercial and residential. I built a couple of houses on Bavard Place, including my own. And I watched the other day, when I built my house in '84, there was 2 cars came down the road from 6:30 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. I knew that because the night light was on when I got there, and it came on when I left. 2 cars went down my road. They put a new bridge in on Bavard Place. I had 4 transfer trucks, 12 trash trucks. I'm going to guess 2,000 cars came down the road in one day the other day I was working in my garden. I can't even get out of my driveway. They got to build 500 houses across. Now, I know Mr. Brown pointed out a nice little piece of the puzzle, and I'm a schoolman. Mr. Brown, I've been in the system 32 and a half years. I'm a retired principal, retired teacher. I grew up in Lincoln County. And that's a pretty piece of the puzzle, and I love all the things that he's saying. The problem is folks, we can't handle this. They're talking about building a roundabout up there. There's no place except right there at the historical church to do that. I'm talking about the 500 houses that's going to be proposed to you in a few months. And we're going back to my grandmother. This is just one bite of that elephant. We got to look at the elephant at some point. We can't stand that kind of growth in this area. Just in the school system, I've noticed down at the farm and down at Trilogy and stuff, when you do that, you have to add buildings to the schoolhouses to try to support this. Residents like me, 71 years old, born and raised here, we are supporting contractors coming in from Charlotte that's building houses on half acres, and we can't even get out of our driveway anymore. So, I would just ask that you look at the elephant, not the bite that we're trying to take right now, and start considering what might happen in the future when they start asking for the 500 houses, which is 1,000 cars. And Mr. Brown, at one football game, I had over 1,000 people at a football game. So it's not a small group of people coming out to Gymatorium to look at artwork. We're talking about sports fans coming out by the thousands on the old plank road. It was called that for a reason. Now, before you make a decision, I would challenge each one of you folks, and some of you will probably do this. Just come out to my house one morning when school's in session and stand there about 15 minutes. You'll probably see a couple of trash trucks cutting through to Gaston County. There's 5 buses. There's transfer trucks. This is a narrow two-lane road through there. Plank Road is a little bigger. Mount Zion is even smaller. And that's the only 3 ways you can get into this area. I support school systems and facilities, but we got to look at the infrastructure. And I live in an area that's going to affect the infrastructure. And I just ask that you remember back in 1984 when I sat there and watched 2 cars and I can't get out of my driveway. Now we've got to add another 1,000 cars there, plus all the folks coming to the facilities. And Sheila, I can hear them talking on the intercom about how big that carp weighs at Catfish Country. That's the lakes that surround this area. So I'm sure you got to hear those loudspeakers saying he just scored a touchdown. I just ask that you look at the elephant and not the bite that they're asking you to take right now. When you look at what's going to happen to Lincoln County and what we're going to have to try to support these folks with. Again, I'm Bobby Harkey, and I'm a retired principal and a homeowner, and would just ask that you take that in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jeff Oden. Okay. You signed up. Anything you want to add? Okay. All right. Is anybody else in the room want to add anything?
Mr. Chair, if I could, to address the elephant in the room, there was no traffic study required for this because state law specifically prohibits it. What the law says is the regulations set by the county may not include as a basis for denying a zoning or rezoning request from a school the level of service of a road facility or other facilities abutting the school or approximately located to the school. So therefore, we cannot take into consideration the road infrastructure and the infrastructure surrounding the school. So I just wanted to make you all aware that that is why a traffic impact analysis was not required for this rezoning request, because we cannot.
But when the other comes up, we will have a traffic study, is that correct?
Yes.
But for this parcel here, the traffic study is irrelevant due to state law.
Correct.
Okay. All right, with no other speakers signed up to speak, I will close the public hearing, but I will ask Rob to come back to the podium to address Ms. Sadler's concerns about as far as a berm and parking lot things.
Yes, sir. I took notes, and I'll try my best to address all those. I will mention regarding the encroachment, we did have the property surveyed. The stakes are out there. This, as you know, Mr. Chairman, is just a preliminary site plan. This is not a certified ALTA boundary survey, but we have one. And so wherever the stakes are, those lines are marked is where the boundary lines are that we'll be claiming.
Could y'all, before y'all start, just walk that property line with that owner
Sure.
to make sure he's satisfied with
Sure. Be
what's
happy
there?
to. Yeah, we'd be happy to. I'll get your phone number before I leave, okay? With regard to the two-lane roads, we're certainly familiar with that. But I just started thinking, I think every high school in our county is on two-lane roads. East Lincoln, West Lincoln, it's all two-lane, unfortunately, and we just have to deal with that. I'll have Jeff come up and speak about the berm and additional tree lines and the lighting here in just a moment. But I did want to address those two items right there. So Jeff, if you'll come up and address the concerns that Ms. Sadler had.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Oden. I live at 116 Hunter Spring Lane in Mooresville, North Carolina. As far as the buffering, the trees against the lots there at the Sigmund Farms, we actually had already looked at that and talked about it. We're just now starting conceptual design. As you can see from that image, a majority of the site is heavily wooded with natural stands of trees. The first 3 or 4 lots coming off Old Plank that back up to the property there within the subdivision, there's not a lot of tree cover, but the intent would be to, yes, put a berm and a continuous evergreen separation there so that you wouldn't have direct line of sight into the project.
Am I allowed to speak or ask a question? So that property,
Oh, I'm sorry.
you want me to come up and ask? So, the property that's behind our house, y'all will sit up on a hill. Is that gonna be cut down some? Because even if you put a berm up in trees, it's still gonna be, when you pull in the neighborhood, it's gonna be, all we see is that parking lot.
We haven't started the grading studies yet. It's a pretty good distance from the property line to the building. We do have a road and some parking. It's easy to construct a berm and put 20-foot trees above it. So, I mean, we'll do the best we can to prevent that line of sight from being an issue.
Yeah, we definitely want that walk because I've had a beautiful view for 25 years and I welcome, anything to help with school systems and stuff, and I'd rather have that than a huge neighborhood. But my concerns are, again, like the noise, the lights, the view. So want to make sure those things are addressed. And I don't know if I asked him this question, but as far as like gates being locked at night, or how is this going to be used for community use? Because y'all say it's going, that the community is going to be able to use it. How's that going to work?
I think that would be a Rob question.
Just speaking from current facilities that we have in other schools, we don't typically lock our parking lots at either campus. I don't think we have gates up. We direct traffic certain directions, but we don't lock our external facilities down that I'm aware of. I don't know many of the schools do that I think of it.
So I'm just hypothetical, with that being said, the neighbors from Sigmund Farms on a Saturday could come over and play
Yeah.
soccer on the,
What happens, at the charter school now with, the rescue squad park there that we share, those facilities, and people are there all the time, and actually community kids come and use our fields when they're not in use, and I don't recall ever running anybody off if they're out there enjoying themselves on the field.
Is that Rob? Rob?
The concern with that is that these fields are hidden back in the woods, right? I mean, the way that you've got the map set up is that the football field, baseball field, all that's gonna be back in the woods. Nobody's gonna see that from the main road. So people are allowed to just drive down in there and park at all hours of the night. My concern is crime. Her house is right by the football field, so all somebody's gotta do is walk through those woods there and get to her house or any of the houses in the neighborhood, they're gonna have access if that is not locked at a certain time, that people can just easily come in from Old Plank or Brevard.
Again, part of the agreement we made with the family was to allow community access to the major components there, and if we locked it down, then we're not doing, a service to the family that we agreed to do. We can certainly look into that and have discussions with the sheriff, and I'm assuming there'll be regular patrols out there like there is anywhere. So we respect that, and we'll look into it. Yes, sir, Mr. Cecina.
Rob, the section A and B, that I may miss something on that. Is that the first phase of this? The community center? What?
No, unfortunately, that's the big ticket item.
Yeah.
It's going to be later on.
Well, I know that the dance moms who are very vocal are very excited about that idea. Dance moms from Denver.
Yeah.
Very excited about having that.
It's still in the plan, and also the swim complex got a lot of buzz, as you know, in the community as well. So, but that, just preliminary pricing on that, Bud, it's up there. To make it as large as we'd like to make it.
Sure.
And Kathy Davis wants it larger than what we're proposing.
Sure she does.
And all sorts of bells and whistles, as you can imagine.
Thank you, Rob.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can I ask him one question?
Sure.
So would y'all be agreeable to make part of the approval process a berm or buffer between that neighborhood?
Yes.
Just to make sure that that's in writing and everybody understands that going forward?
Thumbs up from the boss. Yeah. Superintendent says yes.
Thank you.
So Jeremiah, did you get that when you review your plans for this, that they're agreeing to put a buffer, a hard buffer?
Sure. So for clarity, Mr. Brown, I'm sure you're aware of this. Our ordinance actually has different options for buffers with regards to district boundary buffers when there are incompatible, for lack of a better term, zoning districts adjacent to one another. And there are different options for the density of plantings and the width of that buffer. My suggestion would be that if we're going to make the planting of a buffer a condition of the approval of this site plan for the special use permit, that maybe we get some specifics on whether you would be proposing a Class B or a Class C buffer, something that is defined and readily identifiable in our ordinance, a standard that we can point to.
Okay.
We'd have to pull the UDO up real quick. I don't have all those memorized, but we can look at that. And Bud's question made me think, part of this is too, and I didn't mention it during our presentation, we are requesting the 5-year vested rights on this, as opposed to the standard 3-year. But we can look at that UDO real quick if you'd like us to.
Yeah, take a look at that real quick, and
Pull it up for you.
he's pulling up right now. I just want to make sure we get this
Understood.
information
Yes,
correct.
sir. We're willing to cooperate. Anything else?
I think we're good right now. Just, we'll give them a few seconds to take a look at that. And Yes, go ahead.
So on the area that's in question, around that parking lot on the north west side of the plan, we'd agreed to a Class B buffer on that. And then the remainder of the site plan, and I probably failed to say this in my presentation, the green space that you see, that's the tree save that we've agreed to do. So a majority of that is all going to stay. We're not planning to clear cut, to the boundary lines of the property. We designed this plan to put all these components centrally and then leave that big massive buffer around the residential community. So we would agree to a Class B buffer in that area. Okay, what's the Class B buffer? That's above my pay grade, but it's engineer talk.
Is she going to be happy with your Class B buffer? That's the question.
How tall is a Class B buffer?
I think somebody needs to explain to us what a Class B, on the microphone.
Yeah.
At the microphone.
Can you summarize it, Jeremiah? That's above my pay grade.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Sure. So the defined buffer plantings for a Class B buffer, and this is, for clarity, we're talking about the area on the northernmost part of the site plan here, closest to Old Plank Road, where there's not a lot of existing tree cover, and what little bit may be there, it might be necessary during their site work to remove that. So they're proposing a replanted buffer there. And for every 100 linear feet along that common property line between the rear lots in the neighborhood and this proposed facility, for example, a 20-foot wide Class B buffer would require one evergreen tree, one canopy tree, one understory tree, and 12 shrubs every 100 feet. And that's in a 20-foot wide buffer area.
I think that will satisfy.
That sounds very reasonable.
Okay. Thank y'all. Is there anything else anyone else would like to add? Any commissioner?
There was one question about lighting that we had
Okay.
talked about. The intent.
Microphone. Yes, sir.
The intent would be, using current state-of-the-art lighting technology for the athletic fields, which is basically a back cut off straight down. You don't really get much light pollution for those. We've done a number of high schools and other athletic facilities adjacent to neighborhoods, and that's the intent. It basically keeps the light on the field.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so public hearing's been closed, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the findings of fact as submitted by the applicant.
So moved, sir.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Cecina. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have that one. I'll entertain a motion to approve SUP 525, the Foundations for Education Incorporated, based on the findings of fact.
So moved, sir.
All right.
As amended.
As amended with the condition B,
Yes.
buffer B.
Okay. All right, so the motion by Commissioner Cecina, everybody understands the amendment to the motion? Okay, so any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, so it passes. So at this time, we need the planning board to move forward, so we will take a recess, and we will reconvene at 6:30. Okay, we are back in session, and we now have the planning board with us. So we will pick back up with Jeremiah on ZMA 754.
And Mr. Chair, I'm going to run through it with the planning board.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the audience, tonight we are going to hear majority legislative cases and then one quasi-judicial case. So a legislative case is a forum for expressing public opinion about a project, and a quasi-judicial hearing is considered evidentiary hearing where the board must make a finding of fact as enumerated in the Unified Development Ordinance. So anyone wishing to speak at a quasi-judicial hearing must have standing under law. So I need to confirm that no board members have a conflict of interest in regards to the cases before us tonight. No member shall participate in or vote in a manner that would violate the applicant's constitutional rights to an impartial decision maker. Those impermissible violations include a member having a fixed opinion prior to hearing that is not susceptible to change, undisclosed ex parte communications prior to the quasi-judicial hearing, a close familial, business, or other associational relationship, or a financial interest in the outcome of the matter. Does any board member on either board have such a conflict? All right, so planning board member Jenny has a conflict on 3 of the cases as you have a financial interest in the outcome of the matter on all 3 cases.
I'm not sure how to answer that. I feel as though there is an interest because it's all one tract, but I am the property owner of one of the properties.
So would you say that if any of them fell, your financial interest would be at risk?
Potentially.
Okay, so,
I feel like it would be in all fairness to just recuse myself from all 3 of them.
so based on Ms. Owens' comments and her beliefs, does the rest of the planning board agree, and will they vote in favor of allowing Ms. Owens to recuse herself? Okay, all right, thank you. You can be recused from those 3, and you can either stay up here or you can take a seat in the audience, however you want to handle it. All right, thank you.
All right. The first rezoning case this evening, ZMA number 754, Troy LaHue is the applicant in this case, and he's requesting the rezoning of 3.8 acres from residential single family to general business. This property is located on the south side of Unity Church Road, about 600 feet east of the intersection with NC 16 Business Highway in Catawba Springs Township. The property is also partially located in the Eastern Lincoln Development District overlay, and it is adjoined by properties owned neighborhood business and industrial general. Land uses in this area include industrial, business, residential, and civic uses, and the Lincoln County Land Use Plan designates this area as suburban commercial center, which is suitable for a variety of commercial uses to serve the daily needs of the surrounding residential neighborhoods. This parcel is located within the WS4 critical area of the Catawba River Lake Norman water supply watershed. So there are some implications for impervious coverage limitations for non-residential developments. You have in your packets the uses that are permitted both under the current zoning and the proposed zoning. The planning staff has recommended approval of this request. You have our statement of consistency and reasonableness in your packet, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jeremiah? Okay, is the applicant here? If you would, come to the podium and state your name and give us any information that you want to add to it.
Don't have a lot. My name is Troy LaHue.
Okay.
I actually live on the property right now, and it's something that we're just trying to rezone for resale. So trying to kind of retire and move.
So we don't know what's going to go on it.
I don't.
Anyone else have any questions for the applicant? I'm sure they'll come up with some more questions when they recess here in a few minutes to go to a different room, so.
Is that all you need?
Yes, sir, that's all we need right now. So I will open up the public hearing for ZMA 754. We had the applicant signed up to speak. He already spoke. And then we have Ellen Hoffman. If you would come to the front and state your name and address. And you have 3 minutes to speak as an individual and 5 for a group.
Hi there, Ellen Huffman, 8133 Deepwater Lane in Denver. My comment about the rezoning was a little bit in response to Bed's question, was not knowing what's actually going to go there. I'm concerned because we just heard, not a few months back, where the QT was trying to locate on that corner, and how that would be affecting potential traffic moving forward, especially with the beach coming in. So my concern is rezoning that might potentially take what QT wants to do on that corner, which would, inhibit traffic, and just move it to a parcel 4 acres. That's quite a large size. Very easily could put a gas station on that area and increase traffic flow. I understand if it was something that it was, smaller business related, where there was less traffic, but from a gas station perspective, I'm not saying that that's what will go there. I'm just saying that that's my chief concern, is that QT will look for just a way to move it across the street. So that's my general comment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with there being no additional speakers signed up to speak, I will declare the public hearing closed. And we'll move on to ZMA 755.
The applicant in this case is BLBJC Properties LLC, and they are requesting the rezoning of a 6.12 acre parcel from conditional zoning industrial light to industrial light. That conditional zoning, that district was approved several years ago. Since building permit has not been issued and the site work as shown on the approved plan for that conditional zoning district has not commenced, that plan has expired. So the applicant is requesting a rezoning to industrial light here. And then later this evening, you'll hear a request for an amendment and renewal of their also expired watershed special use permit for the specific use that they're proposing on this property. This property is located at 3089 West Old NC 150 Highway at the southeast corner of the intersection with NC 150, Krause Road, and Old NC 150 in the Howards Creek Township. This property is adjoined by property that's zoned neighborhood business and transitional residential, and land uses in this area include a mixture of business, residential, and civic uses. The Lincoln County Land Use Plan designates this area as suburban commercial center suitable for a variety of commercial uses to serve the daily needs of the surrounding residential neighborhoods. This property is located within the WS4 protected area of the Catawba South Fork Catawba River watershed, which has some implications for the impervious coverage for non-residential developments. As I alluded to, you'll be hearing a special use permit case later this evening with regards to that. You have included in your packet the permitted uses under the current conditional zoning district, which includes contractor's office and contractor's yard only, but that plan is expired. And then you have the list of permitted uses under the conventional industrial light district, which does include, among that list of other things, it does include the contractor's office and contractor's yard. And I'll allow the applicant to speak to anything additional they want to mention with regards to their intended use as indicated on their application. The planning staff has recommended approval of this request. You have our proposed statement of consistency and reasonableness in your packet, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Any of the commissioners or planning board have any questions for Jeremiah at this time? Okay. Is the applicant here? Is there anything they'd like to add? If If you would, state your name and address when you step to the podium.
Jared Fuller, 662 St. Mark's Church Road, Bessemer City. Thank y'all for taking the time to hear our request this evening. It's been a long time coming that our company, Fuller & Company Construction, can build this infrastructure to bring all of our operations into one place. We've been split up between the office and shop for quite a few years, and really been looking forward to this opportunity to build out in Lincoln County.
Anyone have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. I will open the public hearing for ZMA 755. And having one person signed up to speak, Dennis Williams. If you would state your name and your address.
Thank you. I'm Dennis Williams with Williams Design Architects at 126 East Sycamore Street in Lincolnton. We worked with the Fullers back in 2021 to get the initial conditional use permit approved for the current zoning. And the current site plan is very much like the proposed site plan was at that time, which was approved. Very few modifications other than clarifications about the configuration of the buildings. There would be an office building expansion. Right now, they're in the office at that location, but the office would expand. And there's also a configuration of a shop and some storage areas, as well as the contractor's yard. And I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have regarding the site plan. But the development is very much like it was that was proposed in 2021. They just were not able to begin that process because there was just so much business, so they couldn't get around to doing this at that time. So that's why we're back.
Okay. Anyone having questions for the design engineer? Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Having no one else signed up to speak, I will close the public hearing, and we'll move on to PD 2025-1, Max Caldwell Jr.
So the applicant in this case is requesting to amend the master plan for a planned development residential district that was approved quite some years ago. And the request is to remove 43.22 acres from the plan, which is shown as phase 2 on the currently approved master plan for that planned development residential district. And also to remove the condition of a required turn lane on Old Mill Road at NC 150 Highway. Under the Unified Development Ordinance, any amendment that qualifies as a major modification to a planned development master plan is to come back to the Board of Commissioners in the same manner as the original approval in the form of a public hearing. So you have in your packet the original plan that was approved for this development, and you also have the summary of a community involvement meeting that was held on June 25th that the applicant hosted and presented what they're proposing to the community, fielded their questions, and provided some feedback there. The subject property is located at the end of Loudon Drive, about 900 feet south of Old Mill Road in the Ironton Township. This property is adjoined by properties owned residential suburban and planned development residential, and land uses in this area are primarily residential and agricultural in nature. This property is located within an area that's designated by the Lincoln County Land Use Plan as large lot residential, suitable for single-family homes at densities up to 1.35 units per acre. In a concurrent proposal, the applicant, you'll hear in the next case, is proposing to rezone this same property back to one of the conventional zoning districts, the residential single-family district. So the proposal here, just to be clear, is to amend the 2005 plan to remove phase 2. Phase 1 was fully developed, but to remove phase 2, including the roads and the infrastructure that were to be installed in phase 2, and to remove the condition of an off-site turn lane at Old Mill Road and NC 150. Staff is recommending approval of this request. You have our proposed statement of consistency and reasonableness in your packet, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jeremiah? Okay, is the applicant here? If you would state your name and address and give any additional information that you might have.
Max Caldwell Jr., 3330 Family Drive, Lincoln, North Carolina. We are asking to remove the turn lane because in phase one of Coldwater Creek, there were 52 lots. We ended up combining lots. What we've done is lost 6 lots. Give the HOA a lot and combining lots. So I talked to Travis and Michael Watson with the state, and they had emailed Jeremiah and Andrew that they were good with not doing the turn lanes since I'm only adding 6 lots. We're creating no more traffic than if every lot in phase one was used. And we had approval to do phase one without turn lanes. So we're not adding any extra homes. It's just going to be large lots from 3 to 12 acre lots.
Anyone have any questions for the applicant? Okay, I will open the public hearing for PD 2025-1, and we have one person signed up to speak, CJ Ashton. If you would state your name and address.
CJ Ashton, 1275 Broom Sage Lane, Lincoln. So my concern with the development is the water runoff for the creek that's adjacent to my property or on my property. Is there a, according to this map, the unnamed stream goes across that property, which dumps into the creek. Is there some kind of civil engineering plan that's brought up to address the stormwater runoff?
There would be a plan that would have to be submitted and approved for that. So, I mean, phase one and phase two had a plan that had the roads and infrastructure that would address that. Is that not correct, Mr. Caldwell? Or where were you at with your, yes, sir? You're showing a drawing in the packet here.
I think, and Jeremiah can answer this, I think now they don't have to be designed roads. Is that correct?
So as currently approved as a planned development residential, phase two, which included 52 lots, that was approved in the mid-2000s as a concept plan. If the property owner was to develop that as phase two with 52 lots and roads and public infrastructure to provide access and utility services to those lots, then fully designed civil plans would have to be submitted. As part of that, standard set of civil drawings, grading and drainage plans would be submitted as part of that. The property owner, Mr. Caldwell, is requesting to remove phase two and the associated roads and utility infrastructure from the approved plan, and then subsequently rezone it back to a conventional zoning district. And he stated that his intent is to do larger lots. There is a way that this 43 acres could be developed without it being classified as a major subdivision, which is where you start to get into full design with roadway plans, grading plans, drainage plans, all of that. But that would be a decision that's made by the applicant to either move forward with a proposal for a major subdivision, which would have to come back before this board, or to do a minor subdivision that does not require a full set of sealed drawings.
So, before you, so the water is going to, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, both of you, because you know better than I do. So the water is going to come down from Travis Stock Lane and come directly towards Broom Sage Lane. And then the water is going to split off in both directions. Should, I hope. Well, it looks like it on the map. So,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, tell me what,
The
I
small
have real
branch,
personal experience with water.
right. The
flooding
small
houses, so-
branch at the end of Tavistock is pretty much wet weather. And when it does rain, it feeds into the creek and naturally, what direction? I don't know the direction it flows. But see, the thing about the road, I'm going to do a gated, I want to do estate lots here. And it's going to be gated. And, you know, his concern, I talked to him earlier, that all the trees would be cut off. Well, I don't know all the trees will be cut off. When we're selling, 3 to 12 acre lots, most people doesn't want to clear all the trees. But I do know if it stayed to 52 lots, the way it currently is, it will all be cleared.
So how do we determine for sure that it's going to be the 3 acre lots and not the 52 acre lots? And once again, my concern here is that water, because it's got to go somewhere. And
So the purpose of this rezoning, or this actual action, is to remove that 52 lot part. So basically, it's coming from that previously approved plan development.
okay,
And then it will be, the next case will be more of the, where they will go to the estate lots. So the first action we have to take is he's requesting that it be released from that large plan development, which will get rid of those 52 lots. It will remove those from the previously approved plan development. That way, the only thing that's left is, I think, phase 1, which do those already exist? Yes. Those already exist. So this would stop the addition of all these smaller lots, and then it would, at the next hearing, create the larger lots.
So, but I guess to answer the question about the creek, correct me if I'm wrong, if the creek is part of a 12 acre estate lot, the property owner will determine if they want to cut the trees down or if they want to redirect the creek. Whoever buys the property at that time will determine what they want to do with that creek. So, I mean, if it's part of the 12 acres or 3 acres or whatever, that's the people who purchase the property will determine what they want to do with the creek.
and I don't want to say no by any stretch. I just want to make sure that the water doesn't run down through this section and onto Broom Sage Lane, and that it's directed away from.
Well, there's a creek there at the end.
Yeah, there's a creek right here, but it goes, but when water comes down, and you know better than I do, it can't just stop. It's got to start flowing somewhere. So I think it'd be nice to have some kind of something going on that says the water is going to move in one direction or the other, or it's going to be taken care of. That's all my concern is.
Yeah, so under the current conditions, the natural conditions out there, there is jurisdictional floodplain around the confluence of these two streams. And so as you stated, this what's labeled as an unnamed stream here that proceeds from the end of the existing cul-de-sac down to the larger stream channel, that's flowing into a system that does naturally inundate or flood. But that's all natural conditions right now. And as with phase 1, if phase 2 were to be developed, as the commissioners I'm sure are well aware, we don't have a post-construction stormwater control ordinance in Lincoln County. So we couldn't require post-construction stormwater ponds or anything like that as part of the full civil plan review anyways.
We can start, and we can thank the state of North Carolina for that. I don't mind saying so, because we've tried for the past 3.5 years to get one done, but they ain't listening too good.
And I want to be on record saying that there should be a left turn lane put in on Old Mill Road to get onto 150.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, having no one else signed up to speak, I will declare the public hearing closed, and we'll move on to ZMA 756.
So the application for this rezoning proposal, as we've alluded to, was submitted concurrently with the application for the proposal to amend the plan development that we just heard. ZMA 756, Max Caldwell Jr. is the applicant, and he's requesting the rezoning of 43.22 acres from plan development residential to residential single family. This property is located at the end of Loudon Drive, about 900 feet south of Old Mill Road in Ironton Township. And it is adjoined by property that's zoned plan development residential and residential suburban. Land uses in this area are primarily residential in nature, and the land use plan designates this area as large lot residential suitable for single family homes at densities up to 1.35 units per acre. You have included in your packet the permitted uses under the current plan development residential district, subject to the approved plan, and then the permitted uses under the residential single-family district that's proposed. The planning staff is recommending approval of this request, and you have our proposed statement in your packet. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jeremiah? Okay. If the applicant would come back and add anything else they'd have. Okay, he's good. So we will open the public hearing for ZMA 756, and having CJ Ashton signed up to speak. Is there anything else you want to add, or? Okay. So both have spoken, so we will, seeing no one else signed up to speak, I will close the public hearing and we'll move on to ZMA 757.
The applicant in this case, Stagecoach Investments LLC, is requesting the rezoning of a 3.22 acre parcel from transitional residential to industrial general. This property is located on the east side of West NC 150 highway, about 400 feet north of the NC 150 bypass in Lincoln Township. This property is adjoined by properties owned transitional residential, residential suburban, and industrial general. Land uses in this area include a mixture of industrial, business, and residential uses, and the property is located within an area designated by the Lincoln County Land Use Plan as rural living, which is suitable for residential uses on larger lots with small nodes of commercial activity concentrated at rural crossroads. This property is located within a protected water supply watershed, which has design implications for impervious coverage for non-residential uses, such as the ones that would be permitted in the proposed industrial general zoning district. Included in your packet is a list of uses that would be permitted under both the current RT zoning district and the proposed IG zoning district. The planning staff has recommended approval of this request. You have our proposed statement of consistency and reasonableness in your packet. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jeremiah? Okay, is the applicant here? If you would state your name and address and give any additional information.
I'm Vicki Sperling with Vicki Sperling Realty. My office is at 211 East Main Street in Cherryville. My residence is at 1661 Delview Road in Cherryville. I'm here to represent Stagecoach Properties. He was not able to be here tonight due to something with his children. So what he is asking for, first of all, I want to tell you that this property has been on the market a long time, and I know that don't really matter, but I've had it marketed for a very long time. Had several residential requests, but people wanted to divide it, put more than one house there, and then most of the lookers I had wanted commercial. Of course, I had it advertised as residential because that's what is on right now. But just to tell you the reason why, it's on Highway 150, and it's on the 150. You know where the bypass, if you're coming like from the Krause area, where the bypass goes off, you go on straight, and just right after you go straight, it's on the right, across from that mill that's on the left there. Before you get to like Johnny's Bar and Grill, it's right before that. And behind it is the railroad track. So in front, we have Highway 150 with a pretty big right-of-way, and behind it, we have the railroad track with a fairly large right-of-way. So it's been more appealing to most buyers as commercial property. What he plans to do there is put a contractor's office. It's not a big, it's not a big operation. It's actually just, a very small company that wants to be there. And he has purchased the property in Cherryville, which he greatly improved. So this guy really does a very neat job on everything that he does. So, is that good?
Anyone have any questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I will open the public hearing for ZMA 757, and we have Kathy Hendricks.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hendricks. I live at 609 North Oak Street, Lincolnton. My husband, Gary Cornwell, and I own the property beside of it. When I went out there and just took a look around the neighborhood, we would really like to keep the neighborhood a neighborhood. It's a big transition going from RT to IG. And by definition, with the county, if you read it, it says, established to accommodate a wide variety of residential-oriented uses in portions of the county which to date have not experienced significant amounts of growth and maybe not have water or sewer. We have water, but we do not have sewer out there. If you look at definition of IG, it's intended for heavy industries that by their nature may create some nuisance and which are not properly associated with nearby residential or business districts, warehousing and wholesaling activities. The issues that we're concerned with, and I talked with other people that live in that neighborhood, number one, you're looking, I don't think there's a site plan yet for this. But there's also a risk of decrease in property values, environmental concerns, air, water, and soil and toxic chemicals, increased traffic and noise, safety use or storage of hazardous materials, accidents, or spills. And if you look, I have a copy here of what can go in RT and what can go in IG, and I'm going to tell you, it's amazing what can go in industrial. Also, it can diminish the neighborhood character and livability of the neighbors around it. And we want the soil evaluations. And the other thing I guess we're looking at, since it is going in, if you wanted to put industrial general zoning there, does that require an industrial sewer system? We do have the railroad behind it. But another concern of this would be storage facilities. What's he gonna store there? Screening and buffers, walls, setbacks. Is it gonna be paved? Because we're also concerned about runoff. And what type of materials are gonna be stored there? And will the storage be enclosed or is it gonna be open? Currently, there's a metal building on the property which is right beside of us. And, since we don't know what he has an intent to do there, is he planning on building a building or is he planning on using that existing building? And if he did use the existing building, would that meet industrial code? So bottom line is, we just really would like to keep the neighborhood a neighborhood, and most of the neighbors there would too. I know that Mr. Uri's here tonight, and he said his well was contaminated by the mill across the street. Is it time for me to go?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So anyway, we'd like to keep the neighborhood a neighborhood.
All right, thank you. All right, having no one else signed up to speak for this, I will close the public hearing. And we'll move on to ZMA 760.
All right, Chairman, if I may, just a matter for the audience to be aware of. The next two cases that were on the agenda for Stagecoach Investments LLC, that was ZMA number 758 and 759, have been withdrawn as published on the agenda before tonight's meeting. And then I'll also go ahead and make mention of ZMA number 763 for Catherine Sherman on Luther Drive was also withdrawn. So before we proceeded to the next one in sequence here, I just wanted to make mention of those. So this next case, ZMA number 760, Big A Ranch LLC is the applicant, and they are requesting the rezoning of a 0.98 acre parcel from residential single family to neighborhood business. This property is located on the east side of St. James Church Road at the intersection with Glen Meadows Drive in Catawba Springs Township. And the property is also located in the Eastern Lincoln Development District overlay. Adjoining parcels are zoned residential single family and industrial general, and land uses in this area include a mixture of residential, business, and civic uses. This property is located in an area designated by the Lincoln County Land Use Plan as single-family neighborhood, suitable for single-family homes at densities up to 2 units per acre. You have included in your packet the list of permitted uses under the current RSF zoning district, subject to that EODD overlay, as well as the permitted uses in the proposed neighborhood business district, again, subject to the EODD overlay. The planning staff is not recommending approval of this request. You have our proposed statement of consistency and reasonableness in your packet, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jeremiah? Okay, is the applicant here?
Can you queue up the PowerPoint, please, for 760, 761, 762? Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Planning Board members, good evening. Rob Brown. My address is 3978 Lakeshore Road South in Denver. I live in the Westport community on the eastern part of our county. I'm here tonight on behalf of my client, Big A Ranch LLC. Go to the next slide. So again, I'm presenting on their behalf. So this is a local developer. They currently work out of Charlotte. He's developed numerous projects in the area. Currently working on one in Sherrills Ford right now at Highway 150 and Sherrills Ford Road. He was also involved with the Charlotte Epicenter back in the day, and that's important for what I'm going to mention to you a little bit later in the testimony. You got to get the big picture on this one. This is one rezoning. We have 2 more right after this. Those parcels that you see, or that's 16 parcels that I've highlighted on this slide, it's approximately 21 acres total. My client is under contract to purchase all 16 parcels. So again, 21 acres. I'm going to show you a different slide. This is just without the aerial photograph. And then this is going to make much more sense to you now. So what we're talking about right now is ZMA 760. So it's the sliver parcel down there at the bottom. We're calling it a sliver because it's just kind of a narrow parcel. The next 2 rezonings we'll be talking about is 761. You see that on the north side, and then 762, which is on St. James Church Road. Staff, I know, is not recommending approval of this particular one. They are recommending approval of the other 2. If you focus completely just on this parcel without the big picture, I can understand why they would say that. This gives you a better depiction as well. Existing zonings in the area, and the 2 other zoning requests that we're going to make later, the 761 and 762. That parcel that I'm talking about now for 760, you can see how it lines up with the road across the way. That would be a future access point for this future development of the site. And Bud, I know you're not going to like this, but there are no specific plans at this time. As I mentioned, my client has this under contract. It's a condition that he get the rezoning done to business prior to purchasing the property. Then it will come back most likely before this board for whatever site plan development. We're probably going to do a down zoning from the IG. He could potentially subdivide these parcels and sell them off for business use. The property he's actually doing in Sherrills Ford is a shopping center with a grocery, retailer. He's also big into entertainment. As I mentioned, he did the Epicenter, which goes to my next one. Most people know this property is that's where the rodeos happens. That's where the Denver Fair happens. Those will continue until such time as he decides to develop it. He's also considering reserving part of the property still to allow these things to happen. Again, being part of the Epicenter, he's all about the entertainment venues. So again, what I would request is when you're looking at this particular rezoning, taking the big picture. Let's look at the forest and not the trees, and look at all 3 of these rezonings as one. I initially filed it that way on one application. staff came back and said we need to separate them out because the properties were not contiguous. So I knew this would cause confusion, and that's why I wanted to show you that one map that I did. So we would request that you approve this. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, Rob, at one time, the school system was looking at, when they redo Rock Springs, somehow coming off of St. James with an ingress or egress. Has anybody approached about that?
I represent the buyer of the property, so the Callaway family, the extended family in Callaway Homes, Inc., they used to sell the mobile homes down there, is who owns all those parcels. So I don't represent the owner or the seller, so I wouldn't know that, Bud.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Okay, any other questions?
All right, thank you.
I will open the public hearing for ZMA 760, and we have John Beatty signed up to speak.
My name is John Beatty. I live in the Glen Meadows area. I'm here representing my entire neighborhood who have signed a petition to not allow 760 to be commercially developed. The safety issues on St. James Church because of the traffic and congestion seems to me to say, don't build anything that causes more traffic. I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want the surveys or you want the petitions?
Yeah, you can give them to the clerk. Just give them to the planning board. They're on. All right, seeing no one else signed up to speak, I will declare the public hearing closed. We'll move on to ZMA 761.
So as Mr. Brown alluded to, 760, 761, and 762 were concurrently submitted. The proposals for each of these rezoning proposals for these three different sets of parcels, non-contiguous. So the applicant, Big A Ranch LLC in this case, is requesting the rezoning of 1.81 acres from residential single family to neighborhood business. This property is located at 3673 North NC 16 Business Highway in Catawba Springs Township. It's also located in the Eastern Lincoln Development District overlay and is adjoined by properties owned residential single family and neighborhood business. Land uses in this area include a mixture of residential business and civic uses, and the land use plan designates this area as suburban commercial center, which is suitable for a variety of commercial uses to serve the daily needs of surrounding residential neighborhoods. You have included in your packet the permitted uses under the current zoning district and the proposed zoning district, both subject to that ELDD overlay. And you have staff's proposed statement of consistency and reasonableness. We are recommending approval of this request, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Jeremiah, at one time this was zoned IG, I think, and then I think the family had been living there for so long they asked for some relief and had it rezoned. So originally it was zoned what they want to do now.
I believe it was zoned neighborhood business and was rezoned to residential single family quite a few years ago. I believe you're correct.
About 16 or 17, I think. It was rezoned. So essentially this is just going back to what it was. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Is the applicant here?
They are.
Again, Rob Brown, 3978 Lakeshore Road South in Denver. On behalf of the applicant, can I just say ditto? Does that work?
Sounds good.
Yep, all right.
Gotcha. All right, I will open the public hearing, and having no one signed up to speak, then I'll close the public hearing, and we'll move on to 762.
The last of these three cases, Big A Ranch LLC being the applicant, is a request to rezone 0.98 acres from residential single family to neighborhood business. And this is for the property that's located on the east side of St. James Church Road, about 700 feet south of NC 16 Business in Catawba Springs Township. This property, as the other two, is located in that Eastern Lincoln Development District overlay and is adjoined by property zoned neighborhood business and industrial general. Land uses in this area include a mixture of residential, business, and civic uses, and the land use plan designates this area as suburban commercial center suitable for a variety of commercial uses. Planning staff is recommending approval of this request. You have our proposed statement in your packet, as well as the permitted uses under both the current and proposed zoning districts. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me on this one.
Any questions for Jeremiah? Okay. I'm gonna make you come up, Rob. Okay. Sorry. We got you. So I will open the public hearing for ZMA 762. Having no one signed up, okay, we have someone in the back that would like to speak. Yep, come on to the microphone.
Come on down.
State your name and address when you get to the mic, if you don't mind.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I didn't plan to speak today. My name's Tracy Petty. I'm from 3442 St. James Church Road. And my neighbors and I are sitting back there. Our houses are nestled in between one of the parcels and the other parcels. The rodeo and such is behind us, which my children love. They're in high school now. But with all due respect to Big A Ranch, we do not live in Charlotte. We go to Denver for the away from the epicenter types of things. We do not want another subdivision on our busy road. We've got that school back there. They've got beautiful woods. We just want to keep it our single family homes with great access to, you know, the grocery stores and the gas stations and stuff. But that is already, like the other gentleman said, a very well-traveled road. And it would really, you know, overwhelm the infrastructure. And in addition, putting subdivision in between a subdivision, it's way too much. We don't want shopping centers everywhere we turn. We don't want the entertainment. We can go to Charlotte for that. We can go to other places. That's why we live in Denver. It's a beautiful area that is not in the epicenter. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, having no one else signed up to speak, I will close the public hearing. And we'll move on to UDO Amendment 2025-3.
The applicant in this case, Ms. Ashley Workman-Staffa, is proposing the following amendment to the Lincoln County Unified Development Ordinance. This is a request to amend the definition of funeral home found in section 12.3.2 of the UDO, such that it would permit a single crematory or retort within a funeral home. Currently, the only place that a crematorium is permitted is in industrial districts, and the definition of funeral home does not include, although it does include funeral chapel, does not include a retort or a crematory as part of that business, and that's how it's currently defined in the UDO. So you have in your packet the proposed amended definition of a funeral home, which simply adds that last sentence. A funeral home, as defined in this UDO, includes not only a funeral chapel, but may also include a single crematory or retort. I think I've covered the purpose and intent of this proposed amendment. The planning staff is supportive of this request, and you have our proposed statement of consistency in your packet, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Any questions? Okay, is the applicant here? Is there anything they'd like to add?
My name's Ashley Stoffa. My address is 1035 Cat Square Road, Vale. To give a little background on myself, I've worked in the funeral service industry nearly 15 years now as a licensed funeral director and embalmer. I'm also nationally certified as a crematory operator with equal years experience working in an on-site crematory at a funeral home. Currently, and most people don't know this, but in our county, if you have elected to be cremated, you are transported from the funeral home that your family has chosen outside of the county to a larger industrial facility. An example of this is Yates Wilbert Vault Company in Charlotte. They handle the cremations for most of the funeral homes in the county. To paint a picture of that, it is an industrial style warehouse. On one side of that, there is burial vaults being manufactured. On the other side is where they house their crematory retorts and their coolers. Surrounding funeral homes are then dropping off decedents and picking up those cremated remains. Just to give you some statistics, in 2024, the national cremation rate was 61.8%. That is projected to grow in 20 years to 81.4%. And then in North Carolina, we ranked number 9 in the whole country with number of cremations, and ours is currently at 56.1%. So that's going to go up as well. As a funeral director, contracting that service out to a larger industrial facility outside of our county doesn't really sit right with me. But also as a resident of the county, I'm inevitably going to have to make arrangements, end-of-life arrangements for my own family as well. And them leaving the care of the funeral home that I chose for them, that also just doesn't sit well. So that's why it's so vital for future funeral homes to be able to handle their own cremations here in-house and on-site. That's it.
Anyone have any questions?
So my guess is there would be much greater chance for there to be a mistake made about ashes than if you did it in-house. Would you say that's correct?
I would say at the industrial facility,
Yes.
There's much more likely a mistake to be made.
I had no idea.
Yeah. On-site crematories, we're regulated by the North Carolina Funeral Board. We're inspected, I'd say at least every 2 years. The regulation on that and the paperwork it's spot on. I mean, smaller facilities, you can't really mess it up. It would be very hard to. Your larger facilities where, there are a large number of decedents in and out, a large number of funeral homes in and out, I would say a mistake would be a lot more likely made there.
Are you under the same scrutinization for air quality for a single one than you would be for a multi?
So all of the leading crematory retort manufacturers are Matthews and B&L. All of their retorts are designed to meet EPA standards. So, if you have, 5 or 6 retorts versus 1, technically it shouldn't matter. But one's definitely going to be more environmentally friendly. Cremation in itself is more environmentally friendly rather than embalming and traditional burial.
Okay. Any additional questions? Learn something new every day.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So I will open the public hearing for UDO Amendment 2025-3. And having no one signed up to speak, is there anyone in the room that would like to speak? Okay, I will close the public hearing for UDO 2025-3. And at this time, we'll take a quick 5-minute recess to allow the planning board to go to room 310. So if you would like to hear their discussions, you can follow them to room 310. Okay, we're back in session. We've got one more to go. Jeremiah, we got WSSUP 28A.
So the final zoning hearing for the evening, watershed special use permit number 28A. BLBJC Properties LLC is the applicant in this case, and this is a request for a special use permit to exceed 36% impervious coverage for a project in the WS4 protected area of the Catawba South Fork Catawba River Water Supply watershed as a special non-residential intensity allocation under the 1070 option. That's a mouthful, but they actually received a very, very similar approval for a site plan that's slightly different from what they're proposing this evening. Back in 2021, that plan expired in 2023. So this is a renewal of sorts, but also as the applicant may decide to explain, they did change just a few things on their proposed site plan from the approved 2021 plan to this proposed plan. Under the 1070 option, 10% of any regulated water supply watershed district in Lincoln County may be developed with new non-residential projects, each having up to 70% impervious surface area. It's on a case-by-case basis, comes before the Board of Commissioners for consideration as a special use permit, subject to 5 required findings. You do have the applicant's proposed findings of fact for this proposed development, and you have their proposed site plan in your packet as well, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for me.
Anyone have any questions for Jeremiah? Okay. Is the applicant still here? Is there anything they would like to add?
Say my name again.
Yes, sir.
Jared Fuller. Business address is 3089 West Old Highway 150 on the site. I'd like to speak to the proposed findings of fact, specifically item 5. Since our last application, we've grown considerably, which was the reason for us not building this facility the first time during the COVID era. We actually were fortunate and grew significantly as a company and doubled in size. So we had a lot going on. This investment will bring closer to $10 million worth of assets, actually in excess of $10 million worth of assets to the county. And our annual net revenue is exceeding 35 million rather than 20. So that's, that'll all be done out of that one office there.
So I can understand, so currently you're working out of 2 different locations?
We are. We have a shop location at my home in Gaston County. We founded the company out of my dad's backyard, and it grew into my backyard. Now it's in my field and the woods next to the house and everything else. And along about 2020, we started looking for an office location because we had to play a game of Tetris to get out of the office to go outside at the shop there. So we bought the property there in Krause with the intention of moving the whole operation there. And then when COVID hit, everything went on park and then took off again. So rather than try to build to a moving target of a rapidly growing company, we decided to hold off, and the time's right now. We've gone back to a more controlled growth and have a better idea of what we need.
Thank you. Yep. Anyone have any questions for the applicant?
Jared, can you confirm, are you a member of the BLBJC Properties LLC?
I am.
Okay,
Yes.
and did you prepare the proposed findings of fact, and do you wish to incorporate those as part of your testimony?
I have reviewed and would like to incorporate them with my amendments to item 5.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I will open the public hearing for WSSUP 28A. And on the list, we have Dennis Williams signed up to speak.
Dennis Williams with Williams Design Architects at 126 East Sycamore Street in Lincoln. And I prepared the site plan, the site development plan, and the application forms for the Fullers on this project. The Fullers have a major investment in a lot of other areas around the county, and they're trying to consolidate it all to get it here in Lincoln County, the full operation, as Jared said. Their growth has been enormous, and of course, they work for Lincoln County. They do projects for Lincoln County also. The intent is all exactly the same as it was on the original application, and it continues to be the same. But we would request the changes on our site plan were very minor. There were changes in the configuration of the buildings, and they altered, because of our movement pattern, it altered the proposed impervious area from 54%, 54 and a fraction, to 55%. So it didn't really modify much of anything, but I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have.
Anyone have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no one else signed up to speak, I will close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion to table WSSUP 28A BLBJC Properties LLC applicant until August the 18th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Carpenter. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it, so we will do a final vote on this property on August the 18th, 2025. So now, last thing on the agenda is public comment. This is where the citizens are allowed to address the board on any matter. You get 3 minutes to speak as an individual and 5 to speak for a group, but the group has to be present. So only person we have signed up at this time is Gunny Hull. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? All right, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, or public comments, and then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Mullen to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.